Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Bring the Thunder podcast. Tonight we got myself, Landon, Satvir, and Joey. Just going to recap the OKC game in Memphis tonight as they took down Memphis 120-103. Just an overall dominant game by OKC. Memphis had a few runs here and there, but without Jaren Jackson, they weren't able to stop anything in the paint. They weren't able to stop Shai at all with another 40-point game. Dub with another 20-point game. Wiggins with another 16-point game. Offense was clicking. Defense was clicking. And pretty easy game tonight.
Man, we saw a heated first half from the Grizzlies. You could tell they were coming off of 3 losses. Coach almost got ejected. Yeah, the calls were a little spotty both ways, but I did not expect to see that type of attitude from the Grizzlies tonight.
I kind of did because the last time we played them, they were playing real how Memphis plays. They play with a lot of heart and a lot of emotion, and got into a little bit of a word battle in the last game. So I expected them to come out hot and, try to get physical with us, but there was no chance. OKC was just much better tonight. I'll read a few stats off. I already mentioned Shai with the 41, 8 assists. Dub all-around game 25 and 9. Hartenstein, awesome game, 10 and 15. My boy Aaron Wiggins with a nice 16 off the bench, 6 for 9, of course, three threes. Jalen Williams off the bench, 4 for 4 from 3, 13 points. Memphis had nothing to do with them tonight.
I got a little sleeper stat here, Lou Dort, not the biggest offensive night for him tonight, but still the highest plus-minus on the team at 35. Crazy the things defense can do, man.
And this is the second game in a row where Josh shot under 50% against Oklahoma City at home. Tonight, Lou held them to 8 for 22 and 2 for 9 from 3. So, yeah, outstanding defense from Lou. That's just the luxury that Aaron Wiggins has brought to this team. When Lou is going 1 for 7 from deep, Aaron Wiggins just steps in, scores 16, hits 3 for 4 from deep. So, mind you, we had no Chet. Isaiah Joe's just getting back into it. This team's hitting their stride at the right time here.
Yep, I would have to agree.
Yeah, we had no Chet. They had no Jaren Jackson Jr. So, it's kind of the scales kind of do a little bit of balancing right there. I think it would be the same if both those players were in. I don't think we'd see a big difference. Might have been closer if they had JJJ and we didn't have Chet. But it was overall, we did good at controlling Bane too. Bane, I think, only had 15 points and he was 5 for 14, which is not great and which is below average. So with 33 minutes, he had the second most minutes, but didn't put up crazy stats. So we handled him pretty well. So
yeah, excellent defense tonight. Good point. Bane, there was a few moments where he started to get going, but it was quickly shut down by Oklahoma City's defense. This is a defense we're used to seeing. We've been talking about it a bit. They've been letting up a few too many runs and high-scoring games to lower-level teams. They show up tonight. They go into Memphis, the 3 seed in the West, and they just absolutely dominate on defense. So it's a great look.
Yeah. Memphis in the first half, just 5 for 19 from 3. It's hard to keep it close.
OKC, another great night from 3-point, 15 3-pointers tonight on 42%. Memphis, 9 for 34. So finally, a team doesn't hit 43s against us, and it shows. It's, again, pure dominance. 4 blocks tonight for OKC, 10 steals, and no technical fouls to 1. That's always great when we get into Memphis, get them rattled. I do want to bring up something at the end of the game. I don't know if I'm 100% correct here, but I was watching on the ESPN broadcast, and it was Shai and Dub sitting on the bench at the end of the game, and Dub was talking to somebody on Memphis or somebody on the Memphis bench, and he was telling them that we just beat their ass. He was like, y'all just suck. Y'all suck. And I was like, this is the fight in OKC that I'd love to see, and I think that's a really good look for us heading into the playoffs here.
Yeah, I actually noticed that as well. J-Dub was kind of going off on the bench. He was mainly complaining about the fact that they complained all game and they still couldn't beat us. And that's essentially what it seemed like the conversation was he was having with Shai and the rest of the guys and whoever else was listening. So, that's pretty much facts. The whole game, we had the whole Memphis crowd, the Grizzlies players themselves complaining to the refs, and things weren't going their way. And we've seen a lot of teams kind of struggle with this when the Thunder just kind of overwhelmed them on both sides from a defensive, offensive unit perspective. I mean, they haven't had a close game against us. I mean, the past wins over the Grizzlies, 17 points, 13 points, 24 points just in this season, and they're coming off 3 horrendous losses. So, I mean, they were trying to do like every avenue to win this game. And I mean, first 2 quarters, kind of close. Third quarter, we pulled away. And then fourth quarter, we kind of just destroyed them there. I mean, 120-103, really solid win by us. So I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. Second half team is OKC. It was actually great to see a pretty nice offensive start tonight. But yeah, we finished the second half plus 11. So great second half. We were able to withhold their run at the beginning of the fourth. They cut it all the way down to 6. But Mark quickly took some players out, put some players in. We got a few fast break dunks. Game was over.
Yeah. In the fourth quarter, we went on a 16-2 run in 2 minutes and 55 seconds. That is insane.
And that's just what we see out of this team often. OKC goes on insanely quick and efficient runs. In a snap of a finger, the game will be over. We'll be up by 20 points. And at that point, it's just holding the lead. We've seen it against Boston. We've seen it against Miami. We've seen it against Memphis. We've seen it against everybody. And yeah, Sapphire, like you said, this is a really good thing to see because this Grizzlies team is the 3rd seed or 4 now. They're probably going to end up 4, but they're not even close to OKC. I mean, they haven't had they've lost every game to OKC, and it's been more than double digits each time, especially the 24-point game you mentioned. So, yeah, this is pretty much just us going into Memphis, kicking ass, and showing them that there's levels to this. And I think we're really starting to glue together and lock in for this playoff run. Again, we mentioned that Chet was out. Another player, Alex Caruso, was out. We've been mentioning this every episode, it seems. Somebody's out, and we win by 20. It doesn't matter. They cover the spreads for everybody who bets. If you need a team to cover spreads, throw down OKC. And yeah, one thing I would like to say is just Kaysen, not a great night for him. I hate playing the plus-minus game because a lot of it doesn't make much sense. But
it's not always the most reliable stat.
Everybody was at least plus 17 or higher who had real minutes. Kaysen was minus 20. I don't really know how that makes sense, but yeah, he did only have 4 points. He only played 19 minutes, but Aaron Wiggins came in the game, played 30 minutes, and had a plus 20, so that kind of evened that out.
Yeah, actually,
that usually has to do with the lineup that he's playing alongside, less of just his individual play in that game, because generally he's not like a guy that's negative that much. And also from just watching him this game, like maybe his offense wasn't flowing as well, and it was just defensive matchups and the schemes that they were running compared to like it was specifically like a Kaysen Wallace issue. I didn't really notice him being off or anything. So I
think it was just a matchup, and honestly, I was really happy. I was watching the game early, and I think Aaron Wiggins checked in before the 5-minute mark, like 5 minutes into the first quarter. I think OKC realized that they could dominate on offense. They took Kaysen out for Wiggs, and the rest was history.
He's definitely the guy that's running our second unit recently. I want to give him a shout out for that run. We were the Grizzlies made that run for 91-85, and then we responded with that 16-2 run, and it was mainly because of Wiggins. And the other person I want to shout out is J. Will. He went 4 for 4 on threes. Huge night for us. That brought us to like a 107-87 lead, and a 20-point lead against any team when it's against the Thunder. Like, there's no way you're going to claw back from that from like a just pure defensive aspect, especially when Shai's on the floor. Like, if this was in the third quarter, maybe you have a chance. In the fourth, it's a done deal. And that's why we're beating majority of the competition by double digits in the season. I think we have like 40-plus games of double-digit defeats this season. So, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and also, my bad, I'm just really quick. It also just helps when two guys off the bench combined for 7 threes out of 8 attempts, and then you have another 2 from Joe, and Ousmane Dieng played he only played 9 minutes, but he had a nice 3 in the corner as well, pretty productive 5 points. So bench has been pretty electric recently, and I think that's a huge thing that people aren't realizing, and that's gonna be a big factor in the playoffs.
Yeah, I saw something on Twitter that the Thunder have the highest margin of victory in NBA history. I think it was 12 point something. I'm not sure what the exact number was. But yeah, that just puts things into perspective. Once you get into if it's a close game, once you get into the fourth quarter with this team, they're a tough team to beat.
Yeah. So a main trend that you could really follow while you watch OKC is if J-Dub's going, you're pretty much not going to beat OKC unless you just have a historic night. OKC is going to go as far as J-Dub brings us in this playoffs. I mean, Shai's been outstanding. He's going to give 30 tonight, if not 40 or 50. But you've seen this last couple games, this stretch, J-Dub's been on fire, and both sides of the ball, defense and offensively, and rebounds and everything. If he's on, OKC is going to be a really hard matchup for anybody.
Jalen Williams is the biggest X factor going into these Western Conference playoffs.
Agreed.
Also, a quick nugget of stats here. J-Dub over the past 6 games averaging 20-plus points per game. So he is the engine that can really drive us from just being a team that gets to the Western Conference Finals, that gets us to the finals. And if he's going from a leap of 22 points per game to 25 points per game, that's what I predict he's going to have to average in a finals matchup against like either the Celtics or the Cavaliers. Yeah. That's the only way we really win, is if he's on the upper echelon of points per game and bringing the offense, because we don't really lack on the defensive end. We really need him for his creation abilities, his ability to get to the rim, get free throws, and just put points on the board outside of Shai minutes. That's really what he needs to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear outlook. J-Dub's going to have 20 to 25 a night. Aaron Wiggins is going to have 12 to 15, if not 20. And Chet's going to have to be pushing 20 as well. But they're ready for that. The games these guys played together, they're ready for that. We just have to get healthy.
Yeah, a lot of J-Dub's points are exclamation point buckets too. Like it's dunk, one hand dunks and stuff. Like he gets out on fast breaks, and that can completely sway a game. High energy buckets like that can put a team on a run. And when he gets those dunks, I can tell that we kind of feed off that and go on runs.
Even his and ones that he converts, his high
those
energy,
two.
even for an away game like tonight where he had that one and one in the corner where he just got the and one, started yelling on the right side. If you notice, like the whole bench went crazy for him, and then that extended the run a little bit further than typically it would have. So he was a big factor in that. Where he
I don't see the player comparison with Westbrook, but I do see a comparison in the way that he can just completely flip the energy of the stadium, especially when we're at home. When he gets one of those, it's a huge change.
Dub's starting
game changer.
Dub's starting to bring some nasty to this OKC team, and so is Lou Dort. And that's something we didn't get to see last year. I think we kind of faded away from that, but that's just another aspect of this team that's giving me a lot of confidence and a lot of hope. Because I don't think many teams could compete with that, especially when OKC's kind of bullying, So we'll see.
Nasty is needed in the playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah, we need him locked in. And something I've noticed is, when he's talking trash or he's involved with the referees and he's not passive, that's when he's getting more points per game, but also we're winning those games. Like even if he may not hit that 20-plus point per game average, but as long as he's locked in and attempting to go and create rim pressure, like that's really what we need from him to create those other open looks. I wanted to go into a couple stats here for a second. So I got a ton of Shai stats lined up, but I'm going to talk about the Thunder. So I mentioned 40 of the OKC's 51 wins have come by double figures. We're at 5 straight wins right now, 8 straight wins against the Memphis Crew. Of course, next up we have the Blazers against the Thunder on Friday.
Who have been playing great.
Yeah. You can't count them out.
I think that'll be, continuous movement, and then we'll have, the other games as well. But Some Shai stats that I want to point out. SGA has 92 points in his past 2 games. He's averaging 41 in the past 3 games this month. He's one of 2 players alongside Dyson Daniels that has 100-plus steals, and he's the only one averaging 33, 5, and 6 with that 100-plus steal mark. This is his 10th 40-plus game. This is his 38th or 39th 30-point game, and that makes up about 62 to 64% of the season where he's averaged 30-plus points per game. He's also shooting from 3 nearly 38%, which is absolutely ridiculous. Those are the couple stats that I wanted to point out that were just standing out.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue because I wanted to bring up this Shai MVP conversation, and I think this week especially has officially ended this debate. I know there's still going to be people on Jokic's side, but I just can't see it, especially if they keep slipping in the seeding. Jokic.
Well, the back-to-back series with the Nuggets couldn't come at a better time.
It's very true. But if you look at a guy, 4 50-point games, he's, like Sapphire said, over 60% of the season, he's averaging 30. He's getting 40 whenever he wants. I mean, if you watch the game tonight, it's always a super efficient 40 points. It doesn't take him 30 shots to get 40 points. It's just super easy. And then pair that with the 100-plus steals and the best record in the West, and hopefully by the end of the season, the best record in the league. I can't make a case against him.
Yeah. Usually around like the 18 to 20 shot mark, he's already at like 30, and then only a couple of shots later, he's right at 40. Like
right.
The thing about him that's impressive is the efficiency. I mean, he's just one of the most efficient guards I've ever seen, or just players in general. He's on the caliber of a Kevin Durant in terms of efficiency. Like he's one of the efficiency guys that we look at overall, pure scorers, and Shai's kind of falling into the category where he's going to be regarded as like a top 5, like best overall ever like scorer.
Yeah.
And he'll continue to climb that list as he, builds up this resume. And I think the main important goal for him, he mentioned the other night, was winning trumps all. Like he doesn't care about anything else. And I think that's what the team is focused on. And then, you see that from the effort of Lou Dort and the rest of the guys. So we just got to keep getting these wins, especially these wins against the Nuggets, to really solidify his campaign.
Yeah, that's also another good point with the amount of effort this team plays with. I see a lot of people that there's a narrative that's starting to begin that OKC is only good because they play with so much intensity and effort. What?
That's what you're supposed to do.
First off, that's how you win basketball games.
You're not gonna make it in the NBA if you don't play with some effort.
And second off, they have the best player in the league and another all-star. And then if Chet wasn't injured, he could have possibly been an all-star. So I don't want to hear that. Your team just sucks. Don't come at our team for playing hard. Get out of here.
Yeah, we're not load managing out here. Not the way that other teams are. Like if we have genuine injuries, like guys take time as they need. But even for Chet, like he's been coming back as soon as he possibly can. Like I'm watching him in pre-workouts where he's, right off a fresh ankle injury, and he's like going straight in and trying to get back on the court. And I'm like, yo, like even as a fan, I'm like, yo, you can take your time, man. And no, he's like, I'm trying to play like
these guys are still young and super hungry. So, unless you guys got anything else to say, I mean,
I want to go back to that effort. I want to go back to that effort thing. Ja Morant, 24 points tonight, but he was 8 for 22 from the field. That's not effort. That's having cream of crop defenders that make star players on other teams earn every bucket they get. And I mean, come on, it's not just effort. It's having the talent too.
Very good point. It's like
I want to say one more thing about the seeding once you're done, Joe.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, the defensive talent is through the roof on this team, and it's pretty much impossible for a guard to take over a game against OKC. If there was a star that's going to give OKC problems, it's going to have to be a forward or a big, because when we play guards, we kill them. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland get killed. Ja Morant has been killed all season long. Others aren't even popping in my head, but it's gonna have to be forwards for other teams. If you're a guard,
They've only allowed
six
6 30-point games.
Yeah.
They've only allowed 6 30-point games, which is very impressive. So,
yeah,
I agree on that. I wanted to say, man, it's the Grizzlies. Grizzlies have lost 4 in a row. They've dropped from the 2nd seed to the 4th seed with JJJ out. That defense gone. It's looking like there's potential that they could drop all the way down to the play-in. After being the 2nd seed, 20 games left of the season, so good, they could drop all the way down to the play-in. That, and I want to say that OKC is 17 games ahead of the 6th seed. So within the next 5 to 10 games, we'll be completely secured a playoff spot, which, of course, we pretty much know that. But we'll be the 2nd team to secure a playoff spot. The Cavs just did, but that's also because their conference is not as tight as ours is. But those are the 2 things. And we could see teams like we're playing Friday, the Trailblazers, moving up the rankings, especially with teams like Mavericks suffering so many injuries and stuff. So there might be a lot more change to these seedings than we think. And we really have zero clue who we're going to play. And because we're going to be playing the 8th seed, we have no clue whatsoever.
Yep.
The Grizzlies, the Lakers, Warriors, Timberwolves, all those teams are just shuffling around because it's such a tight race. 20 games left. There's no telling who will be playing.
So,
it might be wild.
There's multiple teams that, I mean, it probably won't be, but it could be Dallas, it could be Sacramento, it could be LA Clippers, it could be Minnesota Timberwolves, it could be Warriors, it could be Rockets. I mean, we have no idea who we're going to play.
I mean, it could be all the way to the 13th seed. They could slip in. They're 24 games behind, but they're only 5 games behind the 10 seed Mavericks.
And who have nobody left. Yeah. So
exactly.
Yeah, I actually have the probabilities here. Right now we have a 21% chance that we get the Mavericks, 21% chance that we get the Clippers, 20% chance we get the Kings, 15% chance we get the Warriors, and a 12% chance we get the Timberwolves, and then there's a big drop off there, and everyone else is a 3% chance and below.
I have a question. Is that before or after the Kyrie injury?
Definitely
Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm guessing before, right? Has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the injuries usually mix into that. They're just looking at what the standings are.
Yeah. I would welcome with open arms Sacramento, Dallas, LA Clippers. Give me any of them. Let's go.
I think we'll do them. So.
That was probabilities. That was probabilities just based on records. That doesn't take outside factors into consideration.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing I wanted to add into the mix here, we have Lou Dort, who's moving up as JJJ has gotten injured. So he's moving up the DPOY odds. Right now, he's still in 4th, right behind JJJ, because he's week to week. But implications for the Cavaliers is Evan Mobley kind of leads this race right now with Dyson Daniels in second place. Something that's kind of more key to the Eastern Conference than it is Western. But if Evan Mobley gets the DPOY, they have to pay him like a supermax contract. And for Evan Mobley or JJJ, I would not want to pay either of those guys like a $385 million contract. That's just me personally. Yeah.
Not yet for Mobley. I mean, he looks like he's going to be an outstanding player, but
not yet or ever. I'm not paying a 2nd or 3rd guy that much money. Like, I don't care.
Very true. It's very true.
So that's something to look out for.
If you guys are all set, we can wrap up here.
Yeah, man.
All right, cool. Yeah, so that's that. I mean, OKC goes into Memphis, takes them down 120-103 easily. Upcoming schedule is looking like, if I'm not mistaken, home against Portland, which it will be a battle. Portland lost by 10 to the Boston Celtics, and Derek White and Peyton Pritchard combined for 94 points tonight. 84 points tonight. So Portland's a strong team, and then we'll go into the weekend and we'll take on a back-to-back with Denver, and super exciting matchups coming up. So appreciate you guys watching, tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're liking the content. And Thunder up, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.